Anthony Dow, fresh from
Mark.
Wales, New Zealand.
That's about it. Bit of Scotland Island in there somewhere.
Scotland Island. And here for 18 months, or almost 18 months.
Just about 18 months now.
You're almost, well, you're welcome. You were welcomed 18 months ago, but you've settled in and created some fairly serious space for yourself and RDA, I think, here on the case. So we want to talk to you about that.
Sure,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the last 18 months, strategies that you've seen and developed. Have you got any that kind of stick in your mind and say, hey, that was cool?
I think we're building momentum now. I don't think there's one thing that stands out. It's taken time. It's taken the 18 months. It's certainly taken 12 months for RDA as a network to be recognised. I think RDA Central Coast as a board is well established. I'm just in the middle of finalising business plans and regional plans and working with their partners on that. And in working with John Dawson, our chair, I'd like to think that actually RDA is well respected. A long way to go. It takes time to earn the trust. So I would say we're building momentum. Some of the highlights, probably most recently, are attracting quite a bit of funding. We've now got innovation funding. So Graham Baker from Enterprise Connect has been a great partner. We've partnered with, that's federal. We've partnered with the university, and councils have come in on board. So we talk about whole of government. We believe we're getting there. So innovation's a great example where we've now got a Central Coast Innovation Plan funded by federal, local, university and state are hopefully, if there's anything left in that budget, we might get a bit of that as well. Arts, we've got nearly 500,000 over the next 2 years. First time that Arts New South Wales have invested anything significantly in the last 10 years, and they're open to that. And we're managing some of that. So in summary, I think we're building momentum, we're getting some wins. Just come from the carbon economy presentation by Simon Crean this morning. That's going to be an important one for saying how does the Central Coast community, businesses, not only adapt as we discussed, not adapt, but maximise our opportunity. There's going to be a lot of money on the table.
And is that your role to highlight to potential industries or companies that's available, or do you put the cluster together? How does that work? How does RDA work at that level?
I think the best word describes us as the conduit. I've used it a number of times when people say, well, what do you do? And we have to be the connector. And it is an attempt at whole of government and a communication between governments and communities. So yeah, in the carbon economy, our role is to interpret that federal government policy into what does it mean to the small businesses on the Central Coast. We know 80 to 85% of businesses, 22,000 of them, are sitting there probably. There'll probably be a couple of hundred of them that could grow by 1 or 2 people, and we've got more employment, and it's because there will be this renewable energy incentive there. But how do we connect them? We've got to interpret the policy and help. And you're right, build clusters. So how do we find those people? That's always a hard one. Where are they, and how do they come to us?
A conduit is good as long as you can connect to someone. If you're just going out into the ether, you're in. So how do you, is that part of the strategy? I know you do the forum on the Central Coast.
Yeah, I think the forum's a good one. Focus on the coast. As you know, we had a very successful sports development forum, which we brought a sports cluster together. And what we want from there is to keep that network going. And it's not about getting in a room, as we made it clear on that. It's, there's a lot of talk goes on, and we know that. And the hard thing is having the courage to make decisions and move on. And some of those decisions, you're going to say, well, that wasn't quite right. But you made one, you made some progress, and you move on. So our role, yes, is to connect. And I think relationships are a big part of that. You're saying, well, how do we connect? Well, I think we're having relationships with the chambers, having relationships with the business networks, the small business networks that I've spoken at, the Rotary clubs. And then you go into councils are just absolutely critical to our role. I've just come from a very robust meeting with council planners and
I love the term.
robust,
yes.
Robust,
open and frank, is that?
Which is what we wanted.
Yeah.
We had it, and we disagreed, but at the end of it, we got some agreement on the way forward. There's not agreement on everything that every area of discussion. There's an agreement to move forward. And I know what I've now got to do was about regional planning and how we try and get more integration. But we need to have more of those conversations. And it comes back to that momentum and going into NRL final series, what do they talk about? Building momentum. And I really want to see, and I see it, and I think we are. I think the Central Coast is building momentum.
Are the governments getting it? Are you satisfied? And I'm not talking specifically about local governments, but you've got state and you've got federal. Is there the support there?
Well, look, in the short time I've been here from New Zealand, I see obviously the federal change. I think for regional Australia has been healthy. I think for the Central Coast, having Minister Crean there, he is a passionate, place-based, local solutions ideas man, and he's passionate about that, and I think that's all good. So I see that as there is a genuine intent by the federal government, I believe, to focus on regional Australia and to provide not a handout, but a hand up, in that if you're ready, if you're organised, if you're united, you get the money to support your growth. State, obviously there's a lot of change there. We just got a new budget as of 2 days ago.
Very fresh.
Very fresh. Again, the devil's in the detail, what's in there. My perception would be that there's obviously the desire from the Liberal Party to become much more corporatised and focused on the business growth. And while there's some job cutbacks over time, but obviously that's they're saying that's voluntary and natural attrition, that will affect a bit of our local economy here. But in answer to your question, state, we work very closely with Trade and Investment and DPC, Department of Premier and Cabinet. Our partnerships are really strong there, and again, I think that we're building momentum. We've had a lot of support in some of our programs. We're doing Invest Central Coast, just bring that up now. End of October, we're launching investcentralcoast.com, and I think we've got .com.au as well. Yeah. But that's an attempt at marketing the Central Coast as a business location. Over time, councils have done some work there, probably different business individually have marketed the Central Coast, but now we're going to come together. We've got an alliance there, and we're going to market the Central Coast as an attractive business location.
Do we have competitive advantage there? What in developing that strategy, if we're going to market it? Now I'm just being annoying.
I'm trying to remember the six. No, it's, I think just before we started, we talked about the commuters. The talent that's leaving the coast. So if you've got a certain business that can fit with that, let's say there's probably some IT workers leaving the coast. I'm sure there's a lot of financial workers leaving the coast, education, health. Now, if there was more businesses, they would be here. On average, I would imagine that the workforce is not only qualified, it's keen. They want to spend more time with their families. So number one, in answer to your question, is that talent base. Number two is it's a beautiful place to live. It's a great place to educate your kids. So we're pushing all those things. Location, Sydney, Newcastle, right in the middle, but it doesn't have those pains of the inner city life.
See, that's my biggest issue, and it's becoming clearer. We are a dormitory right now. If you said, and I didn't mean to be unfaithful, but I did go to an RDA session at the Hills last week, and I was shocked at the similarity of issues and and what they want. They want exactly the same as what we want. The difference is they have a better infrastructure there already. So we have to be aware of that competitive advantage that they've got and build on it. So I guess I'm looking for some clarity, I guess, and I think we can have a specific area. And an advantage, but I haven't seen it yet.
It depends if you go to sector-based as well. Do we have an advantage in the aged care sector? We're certainly strong. There's a lot of aged care facilities, and it maybe is a niche area that one that comes to mind. It's a bit obscure. Is pet resorts. I've seen quite a few. We've got the. I think we've got one up the hill here.
Into Terrigal.
Terrigal. And then I saw Ocean's Pet Resort. So maybe we become the pet resort capital of New South Wales. Can
I just pop back to aged care? Because
so do we get onto their dogs and aged care.
I think we have great opportunities here, to do that sort of thing. Now, with any competitive advantage, the issue is, do you want it?
Yeah, what do you want to wish for? I guess is
Indeed.
part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that, naturally we're going to have an aging population. I think we're going to attract more and more people who want to spend the later parts of their life here. Well, why not cater to that market? And if we can actually have a robust economy from that, I think it is a natural advantage. I think it's something that we want. I know Doug Eaton is positioning Wyong in that, and certainly there's some tourism elements that are starting to grow out of that positioning. So I think aged care is a genuine area of focus and strength that we can market.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Have you, the next 12 months,
Yes.
you've settled in now, okay? Your honeymoon is over. We expect some big things, Anthony. Tell us about what's going to happen in the next 12 months.
Okay. A fast train?
I'm sorry, we've misunderstood the question. 12 months, not 12 years. I think I've heard 19 or 2036. I won't even be able to afford a ticket on it when it gets here. So,
okay, so 12 months.
What do you want to do?
Seriously, the very fast train is something that we'll be looking at in how we, like we said, be careful what you wish for. Do we want a very fast train? If it doesn't stop in the Central Coast, maybe not. If it stops up at Carryong or Gosford or this, maybe so. There's a lot of talk. There's the federal government have just released their latest study on that. Again, I use the word momentum. There appears to be a build of fair momentum around the very fast train, and the Sydney to Carryong leg is looking like it could be the first. And then obviously to Newcastle. The competition to that is Sydney to Canberra. But who
wants to get to Canberra in a hurry? That's my problem.
There's only a few politicians, I would imagine.
Sorry.
But that's one. That's a long-term one. NBN. We've been doing a lot of work. We talked about partnerships. There's no doubt that our NBN alliance on the Central Coast has been held up as being a bit of an exemplar of how to do it. We've been down to Canberra, we've done all the political engagement, we've engaged with NBNco itself. All the signals are that we are, let's say, near the top of the list. I managed to get into Minister Crean's ear for 30 seconds this morning at the carbon economy, and used the three letters, NBN again, and he was non-committal but very positive. So NBN for the next 12 months, we want that and we expect that on the Central Coast. We'll be rolling out the innovation plan with the university. Anton Chris is really driving a lot of that. And then there's other areas around.
How do we get, we're fans of the innovation process as well, and Anton has been in that very chair.
Yes.
Businesses, it is about reinforcing innovation and setting champions up within businesses and businesses as champions themselves. It's going to be tough because we know Central Coast businesses are a little shy on retiring.
Do you?
Sometimes we've got to work with them to get them out.
Yes, I can imagine that the average and the
maybe that's the answer. Maybe we don't want the average either. But if you think you are above average, is it too early to start the discussions with you guys or with the university? How does that? Because a few people will watch this video.
Yeah. If anybody's watching, I guess about innovation, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
A start is picking up the phone to us, to Anton, to yourself, and make those connections. Go to our website, and I'll get something on innovation in there. But you're right. It is a case of at the end of the day, we're trying to create jobs, and avoid social ills, and really, we haven't mentioned what we're trying to do is create jobs and quality of life. So coming back to innovation, I think at the end of it, it's about somebody coming up with an idea or influencing their business to come up with new products and ideas that create jobs and wealth. And again, I think the Central Coast, I think we're lucky we're small, relatively, because I think that gives you a better opportunity to innovate. You haven't got the layers of bureaucracy. Yes, we've got some, but not like in a city, not like big locations. We're small enough to be nimble. So if you're small enough, I think that gives you an opportunity. If we've got 30, we're aiming for about 30 businesses on the Central Coast to have innovators or champions in there. Now, if we can achieve that and get NBN that's helping us be faster of what we do, who knows, this could be the year to start us off. So we're really confident that the combination of innovation and NBN is a serious enabler.
Powerful tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We give everyone, even visitors, the opportunity to have a rant or get on a soapbox.
Yes.
Actually, I had a young lady from France, and she was most offended when I said, "Here's a soapbox." She said,
What's that?
Have you got a rant for us for 60 seconds? What would Anthony Dow change at a business at a local or a national level, if he could?
I'll give a more personal one, and this does bring out my allegiance for Wales to win the World Cup. That's okay. That's my rant. That's my start.
No one would have even bothered to listen to that, and we might even cut it out.
At least I didn't say the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Seriously, on the business side, it's whole of government. Again, coming from that meeting with councils, which was a robust meeting, as I said, it's a genuine intent to whole of government. We're making progress. RDA has a role in it, but for businesses to move forward, cut the bureaucracy, yes, we have to deal with the policies that come down, but there's a long way to go for whole of government, true whole of government. You know, getting the right people in the room and demanding some decisions in weeks rather than years. So my rant would be around a genuine desire to put personalities, egos aside for the betterment of the wider community, and saying whole of government, state, federal, local, businesses, make decisions together. And you know, everybody reads about it in the press, personalities and protectionism gets in the way. So look, I think we're making progress. I look forward to much more whole of government decision making.
Can business play a role in that? Can we make our expectations clearer, do you think, when it comes to government working together?
I think it's about actually contributing in a positive way to the debate and the discussion. So not in a, I'm going to the press to say how much I hate that policy or that.
No, we've actually gone quite the other way and said, here are both the arguments. We
yes.
think there's got to be a bringing together.
Absolutely, because we can stay in our corners as long as you want, but we're not going to move forward. And who's the sufferer? It's the community. So businesses, I think the chambers and you know, any association or individual, I guess it's that attitudinal stuff. It's not standing on the sidelines throwing some
Being
bricks.
involved.
Get involved. Be prepared to have some courageous discussion. Well, you know, it'd be a debate. But at the end of the day, I don't think I've ever seen anyone walk out and say, you know, well, we shouldn't have gone. I know less. You'll know more. You might not agree on everything, but I think for whole of government, you do need that genuine intent. And like I say, I have genuinely observed change on the Central Coast culturally. In the short time I've been here, and I'm looking forward to that cultural change.
Well, Business Insider is beside you there.
Well, yourselves being in the market and online, and you know, congratulations to you all.
Thanks, yeah.
And it's made a difference, and you know, it's that kind of innovation, and then that type of attitude where you are contributing constructively to these discussions.
We hope so.
Right.
I'll let you wrap up on that after that. We've just cut that out for an ad, I think.